episode 1 of a brand new podcast for solving inexplicable, impossible, crazy puzzles in real life. And I'm joined today by two special guests, two wise men of the technology world, or shall we say hardware. And we have Chandan, the lovely, handsome mustache Chandan coming from the UK. He is married. He does have children. Watch out. And Tristen, the mad scientist from Michigan, Motortown, automotive patent super tech. And gentlemen, could we start with some... We got intros. Tristen, do you want to kick us off with a short/long story of your life and what brings you to where you are today?
Well, it all started a very long time ago. Actually, I was a child. I was really into electronics. My parents had an old IBM PC XT, which even for my time was a bit old, but it's what we had. I love technology. I learned to program DOS on it. I learned BASIC. I was one of those kids that would take these books that had the code listings and just punch the code in, learn how it works. And this is back, when you had the line numbers. So it was very old school, again, even for the time. But I always had a love for building things and solving problems. So it all started with that computer, building my own software applications from a very early age to other types of problem solvers. Funny thing is, in 8th grade, I actually did that. I created a chat agent, you could say, like an early chat assistant. But I was in 8th grade, so it obviously was not anything near what we have nowadays. But it was interesting. It had emotion. It had certain qualities of it. Fun fact, I had 2 versions of it. One version was the clean version. One version, you could actually anger him, and he can actually, say some things that might upset people. I had a friend working on the project, and he had inadvertently put the wrong version on the floppy disk. Yeah, they were floppy disks. So we had a lot of parent complaints. Long story short, I ended up in school suspension for like a week because of it. So I learned from a very early age, be careful with your due diligence. Don't get in trouble with the technology that I'm working on. But I've always had that creative aptitude. And if it's not electronics, it was geography. I love geography, tracing maps. I probably could have been a cartographer. And then on top of that, I've also spent a lot of time with other types of studies. Really, I just love solving problems. So I do a lot of language studies, even though I'm not a linguist. Studies in science. It's just a big aptitude that I've had. So because of all that, when I did go to college, I got an electrical engineering degree because I felt like I was pretty capable with software and other types of problem solving. So I wanted to make sure that I had really a full stack set of knowledge. So that was my motivation for getting the electrical engineering degree. So from there, it was, get into the workforce. You put in your time until you have enough experience in the world to where you can finally put into action. So I started as an electrical engineer back in 2007 because the company didn't have a lot of resources. Everybody wore multiple hats. So even though it can be seen as a bad thing, for me it was a good thing because it allowed me to really go outside of my comfort zone and learn everything about motor design, even designing the stators itself, the science behind it, motor drivers, test systems, generating data sheets, and creating the equipment for doing the data sheets. It was a fascinating job because I got experience and exposure anywhere from chip and die design that you would actually assemble at the plant to even rolling out battery film. So I had just a huge amount of experience. After a while, I outgrew it, and it was in an income-suppressed county where I was at. So I felt like I had to move in order to, better myself. So I got into automotive at that point. I started with automotive hacking, so aftermarket tuning. So that was a blast. It didn't last too long because at the time my family wanted to move back to Michigan from Florida. We were there at the time. So when we went back to Michigan, it was due to getting another automotive job. So I from that point forward, was in automotive for quite a few years. So I had got a lot of experience with working as a aftermarket supplier, accessory supplier, and as a tier one. Then eventually I got into briefly induction heating. And then from there, I got back into automotive and moved into different areas and got more into a full stack approach where I could do more on the back end web server. So at that part of my career, I was able to complete the stack by being able to have that knowledge more on the back end side and front end UIs and other things like that. So then from there, I had the experience, I had the connections, the people that that I built this network with, to where I decided to start my own business and freelance for a while. So after freelancing for a while and dealing with a lot of the headaches that Chandan has also dealt with, him and I came together. We were at one point introduced to each other for my group to get a little bit of engineering help. So moving forward, at some point Chandan brought up the platform, and which was funny because I had already been thinking about building a platform like this. I hadn't started it, but I had already been having a pretty well put together mental model. So it was funny how the timing came together. So when Chandan and I talked about that, I had a huge interest automatically, and it complemented very well my years of experience in different fields. And it, I already got it. I got all the pain points that Chandan was trying to solve. So at that point, him and I came on as a co-founder, and we've been working together ever since. And ever since then, we've been pushing this platform. We've been seeing a lot of opportunities and just been having a wonderful time with experience with getting the startup off on the ground. Going from a very rough prototype to something now that's a lot more mature, and every day it gets better at solving the problems that we're trying to solve.
Amazing. And Chandan, what are we? There's missing cracks, and we need to know who you are. Give us the bio. Let's hear it.
Sure. Yeah, I think it all starts. I would probably start with my journey from Bangalore. That's where I was born and brought up and did my schooling and everything. So had a wonderful career. It was probably around 2005, 2006 when it was the call center boom time back in India, where you had lots of call centers working for different UK and US customers, solving a lot of customer services issues, technical support. And I got an opportunity to work with few projects like that with business development. And but since I had a background of hardware and networking, I started off working with tech support side of things, and then worked with Microland for roughly around 2.5 to 3 years. Where I had an opportunity to work with a lot of early United States internet service providers like Earthlink, and I think we also had an opportunity to work with Belkin and others with their routers and switches, other things. So we had a very good exposure to the upcoming technology. Then at the same time, I was fascinated how the global expansion was happening in terms of people working for different countries, and there's a lot of job creation, and there was amazing teams which was built across the globe. So that fascinated me more towards the management. So I had wonderful leaders across, and my mentors, I think they were all fantastic. I got an opportunity to work with very good people, so which helped me to kind of understand how they work. Also try and understand how the technology is evolving, and how can we build the team? How can I start creating something like this? It was more like a creative mindset, which I started getting. And then since then, I think I spent a lot of time in the consulting organization, where I had an opportunity to work with different banks and different industries. across managing their transitions, projects, information technology projects, and building teams, right? So it's all across the globe. So it gave me a good exposure to a lot of international way of working and what it really takes to build a company like this, and how can we start creating the jobs, right? That's when I thought about starting our own organization with the help of a few of my friends. We had some brainstorming sessions. We came up with new ideas to start a company. And that's when Data Shops evolved in 2015, 2016. And then I spent quite a lot of time doing some due diligence as to what is it really required to build an organization which needs to grow in a scale what it really needs to. And that helped me to kind of, start working more towards understanding technology and also understanding what is it really required to build an organization. So I think it gave me a good exposure overall, and I had an opportunity to meet a few of my old friends who were in electronic fields, and that also gave me an opportunity to start thinking about doing something in electronics. That's when we started off electronic design outsourcing part of it in Data Shops, and then that actually worked quite well. And I'm glad that we had a very quick exposure to how the company grows. And like I think I have shared this earlier with you, Mike. We had when we started, we were like one or two people, and we went on to probably around 100 plus. And post which, we had a lot of geopolitical tensions, and we had COVID coming in. So we also saw some downfall as well. I think overall, what an entrepreneur needs to learn out of a degree or out of a graduation, the life taught me about it over a period of time. So that's something which I would love to cheer about. And on post that, like I said, I started observing the challenges in the industry, right? What is currently lacking today if we need to build an organization, build a startup, right? I myself faced a lot of challenges when we had to build a team which needs to have a continuous work, maintain the payroll, all these things. So that led to an opportunity for me to think about having a dedicated platform for electronic design services. So why not think about it in a different way? Have an opportunity for people to bring in their ideas and build it at a very short scale, at a low cost. And it's a premium platform where it's dedicated and niche to electronic design services. So this can not only help individuals who are thinking about new product ideas, enterprises, SMEs who want to kind of shape their overflow work or make sure that they don't want to miss out on the timelines, so they could always use the platform like Electro. And product designs as well, since we already have on the platform 400 plus users there. I think and that's with a zero marketing, like I mentioned earlier. So we are getting there. We are quite focused as to what we need to achieve with Electro, and we want to create an environment for all the startups, SMEs, and enterprises to utilize Electro. And the vision is to be the AWS of electronics, where we want to connect the dots of the requirement of electronics as well. So yeah, that's more or less the journey so far.
Amazing. And for just learning all about Electro, electrohire.com, how long have you guys been running this exciting company? When did you found it?
I think it's been roughly around 12 to 16 months, if I have to say. Although we had an idea well before that, But I think the ideation and understanding the customers, understanding the freelancers, the problems, and there was a good amount of due diligence done before we started off with the idea. And I would probably say it goes back to probably starting of 2025 when we really started working on this on a full-fledged scale.
So some founders, they go out, they hire somebody. Other founders, they contract people. What makes most sense and why I think Electro Hire could be very helpful is that Electro Hire is designed for that exact use case plus more. With Electro Hire, if you are a startup and you don't even know, you don't have a minimum viable product yet, you don't have anything you can show an investor to get them interested and to show them that there's any kind of viability or any kind of a traction for it. So Electro Hire could be used as a early startup's means of getting that prototype done. It reduces a lot of risk. Electro Hire, since we have global resources, you can take advantage of the global economics and get lower cost resources, and you can get people on board to make the MVP and be done with it.
Excellent, excellent. How would you phrase what your business is? Is it Uber for freelance engineering skills? Is it Upwork for techies? What is your pitch? Your
I think that's a good question, Mike. I think it is more Upwork for electronics design services, right? I would probably go one step ahead. Like I said, we are starting as an Upwork, but we want to be like an AWS, right? So we are starting with people, but we would like to connect people to products, and we would like to connect people to tools. We would like to connect people to the the licenses, the certifications, the fab and assembly part of it, the additions related with any kind of complete product manufacturing. So that is where we want to go ahead. But we are starting as an Upwork for electronic design services, and it's purely dedicated to electronics, right? So you don't have the hassle of finding out the best freelancer in a generic platform. So we want to tell people, to customers, that guys, we have a platform full of electronic design, engineers. So it makes it easier for you to get the right electronic design engineer. You don't have to spend days to find someone. So I think typically when we have posted a project, we've had a response in 2 to 6 hours, right? So that's how quick it's happening. And as we move on, that is just to let you know, it's very early days for us, but we really want to make this big. And I'm sure as we move on, we'll have more freelancers coming in, and there would be more people, more talent, and we're working towards vetting them to a place where we have segregation of different industries within electronics, so it becomes more easier for our customers.
Brilliant, amazing, very interesting. I'm just checking out your website over here, and I'm who built this beautiful, handsome, lovely website with exploring opportunities, discovering talent, fractional engineering, about us, knowledge center. Oh wow, what's this knowledge center you put together here for hardware innovators? Oh, this is this kosher? I don't know.
Right. I would like to give that credit to the entire team, and probably since Tristen joined me, it has taken a pretty good shape under his technical skills, right? So under the direction of Tristen, we had quite a lot of things streamlined when it comes to the technical aspects. And we have some wonderful team who are working behind the scenes to get this where it is today. But It was much different than what you see today. I think we've probably done 4 to 5 rounds of iterations by now, and I'm sure that there's a lot more going to happen, because that's all based on how customers and freelancers are coming back to us, and we would like to keep working on that. But the credit goes to the entire team, and special credit to Tristen, because I think he's done lots of work behind the scenes when it comes to giving directions to what it is today.
Oh, wow. Tristen, what would be your add-on to such kind words? Can you toot your own horn a little bit and share with us some exciting projects that are in the mix that keep I heard that you're the guy, when he stands up from his table, he might knock over some pneumatic pumps or some microchips or some custom secret hardware build. Is this true? Do tell, do tell.
Yeah, I have a lot of projects going on here. A lot of them are personal. Some of them are for other ventures that I have going on. I have a lot of stuff going on. Many of these things start as a hobby or as a problem that I want to solve, and then they end up turning into something that has real commercial value. So it turns into something that I then start pitching and start putting together teams for doing this or doing that. In fact, that recently happened with I started doing some FPGA work and doing some deterministic computing, and it turned into a new deep tech startup that I've now started working on. And that's just one of my projects. So I have another one that deals with ancient language decipherments, another one with cancer research, research platform, legal platform. And that's just the tip of the iceberg on all the things I have that I'm working out on right now. And I probably won't show my messy desk. It's quite embarrassing, but I have probably like 4 different FPGA development kits and probably like 6 other development kits sitting here. And believe it or not, most of them are being used somewhat regularly because I do have a lot of tests that require multiple boards that are all coordinating together, sending data here and there. I do some board soldering, but even outside of that, I do a lot with pneumatic air valves and water pumps and solenoid type applications. So I've done a lot of things. Oftentimes it's just more for the self-interest of building something useful, like using a diaphragm pump and creating a mechanism that allows you to essentially breathe but control the pressure going in and going out, so you can have a closed loop pressure system. Why did I do it? Well, just because I could. It just seemed like a fun thing to do, which is really how I kind of see the world right now. Is the world is my kind of my sandbox. So sometimes I get some ideas. I just want to try it out. I want to see it happen, see it work. I think that's one reason why I'm so excited about this platform as well, because there's a lot of people that share that same sentiment, but they may not have the experience or knowledge with doing it. You might have an idea, and you don't even have to be a company. You could be just some person that has at least some money to where they could pay somebody to create a gadget. And you might think one day, hey, I got this gadget. Wouldn't it be cool if we had something that did this? Now all you have to do is go to Electro Hire. You go on the website, you fill in your project details about this cool doohickey you want made. And then, they build it, they send it out to you, you give it a try. Maybe you like it. Maybe it's something you hoard and just keep for yourself. Or maybe it turns into, maybe this is something that I could make some money off of, and maybe something that could start a real viable business. In fact, a lot of businesses start from just hobbies or an idea, and sometimes it just starts as curiosity, and sometimes it just takes taking that very first step just to see something happen. And a lot of people don't realize this, but anybody could start a business. Anybody could start a business in tech. It doesn't mean that not necessarily that will be successful, but the biggest blocker for a lot of people is just not knowing where to start, not knowing where to begin. You have an idea. If you're in the electronics world, Electro Hire does a great job with that, because you might not even know how to describe the idea in words that are technical enough for somebody to understand. But there's somebody on the other end who does. So when you tell them what you're looking for, they can then go back and forth with you, make sure you guys agree on what you're looking for. And then once that agreement is done, the work is on its way. And this is something anybody could do. All you need is a PayPal or a Stripe account, and from there, the only thing holding you back is yourself. You jump on the platform, tell people what you want to build, have them bid on it, see the work get done, and if anything, you just have bragging rights over your friends about this cool thing you had built. But best case scenario, people decide they like it, and it might turn anybody on it into an inventor. It enables people to not have to be bottlenecked by lacking knowledge. And I feel it's like the same way with AI. People are using AI left and right to write code when they don't know how to write code. I've heard of people that are having entire apps written and they don't know how to write apps. They know how to architect it. They know how to communicate, this is what I want, but they don't have the knowledge. So in a way, AI, especially agentic AI, is a lever that allows people to do a lot of things that they normally would have to hire somebody for that they can't afford. But AI, it opens up this whole world of things you can now do. You can do that with electrical engineering. However, you still have to have a lot of knowledge. So unlike software, where it can do the work for you, with electrical, there's still a lot of nuances. There's a lot of physics. It would be very difficult to have AI do it. Again, as an engineer, I can have AI build circuit boards. But it does take the right prompting, the right knowledge, the right experience, the testing, the certifications, and those are things you can't, at least at this point in time, automate. Which it essentially makes Electro Hire a similar enabling tool. It may not be AI on the back end. You might have engineers that are using AI to build code. And if they are, if anything, it allows them to get the jobs done sooner. It allows them to take the validation that it gives them and to do the job right, and then to go through a well-disciplined set of steps. But to me, I see that as Electro Hire as a enablement to allow people to get things done that they don't know how to do. Another example is, and this is more enterprise. So we've talked about people that, the day-to-day person. You could be, a school teacher and you want to build something cool that, maybe it's for your class, maybe it's something you love, but you would love to show your students something that could really help hone in on something you're trying to teach them. And that applies to a lot of different areas, not even teachers, but it can go into even institutions, corporations. But we also have this enterprise angle. And I think I've talked enough, so I think I should invite Chandan to talk about the enterprise angle.
No, I think I have a couple of things to add on there, maybe, Tristen.
Sure.
The important thing which we need to highlight is, we're working on AI agent called Ellie, right, which does most of the job when you want to push a project, right? So because there might be a lot of people who has an idea, but they don't know what they really need to bring that idea to life. So that is what Ellie is going to do. So we've built an AI agent which actually can structure your entire project. It can recommend what and how you need to build and what would be the typical budget around it and what sort of resources you would need for this particular project. So I think that eases the life of anyone who wants to build a product, but he is not a techie, right? So we need someone who can help with that, right? So that's what Ellie does. So we are moving forward with Ellie and a lot of other things, other features across the platform, and I think that's going to stand out in coming days for sure. We quite happy with what it is doing today, and it's going to ease the life of people in coming days.
Yeah, this is all very interesting. I had a very on-the-ground, real-life question. If I have a certain idea for hardware, I'm thinking of maybe like a custom keyboard or a special numpad, what would it be? Could we say $3,000 in 90 days or $5,000 in 4 weeks? How do you ballpark, projects for like a startup with a new hardware idea?
I mean, it all depends on the requirement. I think it's, let's say that, we take let's take a small example. Tristan, anything on top of your mind? I mean, we can take any
Yeah.
IoT
Break it
or
down.
anything
So in
like
your
that.
case,
So
maybe in Mike's case, so this scenario you talk about, and I know we've talked, and I know this is something you actually want to build. So it's actually a very good, real, raw and real kind of scenario. When you're talking about that type of a product, you're talking about a lot of different disciplines. It's not just electronics. There's going to be, well, you tell me. So maybe we can actually pretend like I'm Ellie.
Let's
and then
pretend.
maybe in a future podcast, we can actually interact with Ellie.
We
so
could.
I'm Ellie. You're Mike. You want the product. So go ahead and tell me what it is you're looking for, and I will, try to respond back and forth and walk you through the problem solving here.
Perfect. Okay, my coolest thing was always, my daughter's 4 now, and she's always wanting to punch on a number pad and make something happen on a computer screen. And she's only 4, so the mouse, a computer mouse, too complicated. The whole keyboard, what is that, 100 some keys, too much. So I was just thinking, wouldn't it be cool if there was like a little punchy gadget? But she's 4, Ella Merker's 4 years old, so I was thinking, yeah, what would Ellie say about this?
Yeah, so you're looking for a punch pad, and what does the punch pad do?
I'm thinking like colorful buttons with like the idea like when you push a button, it's the same as pushing like a number 1 on your keyboard. And then maybe another button where it's like pushing this button is equal to tab. So you maybe I was thinking maybe, 10 buttons, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 would be large, big, kid-friendly buttons. And then a few extra function buttons like tab or enter or animate, something that I could build the software for. Maybe like 13, 14 buttons, but kind of like a big buttons, kind of like almost like I'm thinking of big buttons, not little keys. Big fat buttons, almost like a drum pad toy or something. So I don't know, 14 buttons.
So not like one of those miniature like number pads that you can buy now. You want something bigger, something colorful, something that lights up. What are there going to be labels on the buttons? Do they light up in color? Do the buttons themselves just need lens with a white LED, or do you need colorful LEDs and light pipes and things like that? Like what were you thinking?
Great question. Oh, this is a real life scenario here. I love the idea of, just one color per button. Normal colors. My daughter loves rainbows and unicorns, so maybe like the buttons are in a rainbow color and shape configuration, but the ability to, I don't know, some basic navigation of YouTube videos or unicorn pictures. I could build the software side, but I haven't really thought it out, but I imagine 14 buttons on some hardware panel item, and then I guess when you push a button, could I program the buttons if I know the software?
And that's where we are heading next. I have some other questions to lead into that. So, as of right now, if you were working on a real project, they would probably want you to be specific about what exactly is labeled on the button, what exact colors are you looking for. You have to be exact, because if you're not exact, then that means the engineer will do whatever they think they are to do. And everybody has their own bias, their own upbringing, their own world that they're living. So what they give you might seem good to them, but to you, it might miss your requirements, and that could leave you upset, which is one of the reasons why we have Ellie, because we have Ellie to be there to make sure that if you leave details out, Ellie tries to make sure that these details that are still important are discovered, so that you don't end up in a predicament where you're not getting what you want. Because a customer might not want to pay the freelancer, and then the freelancer is upset because they did the work and they're not getting paid. So you can see how a simple miscommunication can cause a problem, and it could be a big issue. Because of that, we knew long ago that we needed to have something that was smart, something that could keep pushing back and asking these questions that maybe people don't think about. Just like right now, you weren't thinking about those.
Yeah.
So it gives you a chance now to start thinking about it. And essentially, you are completing the requirement specification. But you're not thinking about it like that. You're just thinking about it in human terms of, well, I got this missing, I got that missing. But in engineering terms, that means missing requirements. And missing requirements means missing functions in your product, which lead to dissatisfaction. So to get back to track there, we can skip on into the next part of this scenario, because I know you may not have the answers to that.
No, sorry to interrupt. Could I bring some Lego-like or Pix Bricks props into the discussion? This is such a fruitful discussion. May I bring in some of my favorite props that one of my kids built? Oh, please. You can't say no.
Yeah.
Be right back, everybody. Yeah. Okay. Oh, speak of the devil, this was the original idea. Was like, maybe this one's too crazy. Here's a smaller one. I wanted some kind of color. My daughter, she loves color by number. All her favorite art activities, she's always like, grab a yellow crayon and color all the ones yellow. So I kind of wanted to do like, 10 colors for 10 digits. And then the other idea I had was like a long punchy thing where it's kind of like, I guess the first question, is it kosher? Is it allowed to build models out of Lego? Or in this case, we have these special Pix Bricks, which are Lego on steroids, if you will. Build up, down, left, right, diagonal. My fan favorite. Is that okay if I build something out of Lego to help me wrap my head around its shape and size? For switches?
Absolutely.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, that's essentially what a wireframe is for apps. You're creating a physical representation of what you want. In fact, I would encourage that kind of thing. For this kind of platform, when you're describing requirements, you can sketch a drawing. You can build something out of Legos if you want, take a picture. When you're in the Electro Hire website, you can attach these pictures, attach all these ideas. Anything that you need to do to help show what you're trying to do to the engineers on the other end. So back to your scenario to try to get back in alignment here. Answering your question, yes, you would create something. You would say, I want a block that looks like this. It has buttons over here. You might pick the right colors for the right buttons with your Pix Bricks. And that would be your, call it a mock prototype. So from there, my questions would be, you have these buttons. Where are the buttons going? Where's the data going? Is this feeding into a computer, a phone? Is it Bluetooth to where it can then connect to other things? Is it something that can then map as a head device, meaning that it might look like a keyboard to your computer and you program certain buttons on your keypad to correspond to certain keyboard buttons, and then you run your app. So when you run your app, it knows when you hit one button, it might mean the keypad number one or something like that.
Oh, Chandan, what were you going to say? Yeah.
I can see that now you have many questions.
Yes,
popping up.
First of all, there's the excitement over many questions are popping up. My brain is going,
absolutely. I mean, that is what we want to do to our customers who just have an idea but don't know where to go, right? So they need someone who can help with how you need to start a project and what you need to start that project and what does the budget look like and what sort of timeline you need. So that is what Ellie is doing for us at this point in time. And that's going to be very useful for a lot of people. I mean, at some point, there was a time when even personally I wanted to create a product, and then we couldn't find any platforms like this, right? If I had a platform like this, I would have definitely gone for it, considering the time, considering the cost, considering that it's just going to be a trial. I'm not going to spend too much of a money because it's just a prototype, right? So there's a lot of benefits, and that is a problem which I want to solve for a lot of people out there who just have an idea and they don't know where to start, and They're not sure about how much they need to spend and all these things, right? So here we are, come to our platform, make use of it, right? So it's for all the people who are looking out to build something, especially the electronic gadgets, and just have an idea. So you want to do some prototypes, you could definitely try Electro Hire.
Oh, we're gonna so much to say. I think we'll have to circle back in a couple weeks and finish where we left off. And a beautiful first episode, amazing. Thank you, gentlemen,
Wonderful.
And we will pause
Thanks a
it.
lot, Mike.
We will
That was
pause it
amazing.
here. Thanks.
Yeah.